Okay, let's talk about this. Can a piece of paper, a really detailed questionnaire, and, a few focused conversations truly save your marriage? Or is that just wishful thinking?
Right, the kind we cling to when planning the big day.
Exactly. PG Sebastian says the answer is a resounding yes. But, and this is a big but, only if you're willing to face one harsh reality that love often blurs.
Which is?
That emotion. It's actually a terrible basis for strategic planning.
Ah, yes. And what's fascinating here is that PG Sebastian isn't just like selling vague hope. He's demanding intense preparation.
Intense is the word.
He basically posits that every great relationship needs a kind of forensic audit before the ceremony.
A forensic audit. Wow.
Yeah. So today we're deep diving into his rigorous case for premarital counseling. We'll examine the intense prep required, those 4 potential outcomes he expects, which are pretty high stakes, and critically, why even really prepared couples sometimes will fail.
This really is a deep dive into clarity then. We're trying to move past the fluffy language of soulmates and look at the practical, the non-fluffy mechanics of building a relationship you can actually be proud of, all based on PG Sebastian's materials. So let's unpack this mandate for mandatory prep.
Well, Sebastian's position is pretty firm. Premarital counseling is a necessity, not just a nice to have.
Okay.
And he tackles that immediate pushback. The argument counselors always hear, my marriage is unique or our love is different. He says that's just insufficient.
Okay, but I want to challenge that a little. I mean, when you're really deeply connected, you do feel like your relationship is special, right? Why does PG Sebastian seem to dismiss that feeling so quickly? Isn't that feeling what we should build on?
It's not so much dismissing the feeling, I think, as it is contextualizing it.
Yeah.
He notes that while, yes, the specific details of your story are unique,
Sure.
the fundamental challenges usually aren't. How we generate conflict, for example. Pretty predictable patterns. How we give and receive love. Recognizable love languages. Our temperaments, our socialization differences. These have all been studied for decades.
So he's saying the patterns are known, even if the people are new.
Exactly.
Yeah.
From Sebastian's viewpoint, believing your relationship somehow exists outside the scope of all that human psychological study, that's kind of running on delusion. He basically says there's nothing truly new under the marriage sun that would let you skip the prep work.
Okay. So if we accept it's necessary, the commitment PG Sebastian demands sounds huge. It starts with this famous premarital counseling questionnaire, right? And you said it's less like a basic form and more like a full-blown psychological investigation.
It absolutely is. It requires, and this is his phrase, total openness and honesty to really influence the outcome.
Total openness. That's a high bar.
It is. And here's where the stakes get really intense. To ensure that honesty, the whole process, requires this intense confidentiality framework, a full non-disclosure agreement, an NDA.
Wait, an NDA for premarital counseling, that sounds almost counterintuitive if you're trying to build trust before marriage. What's the tactile purpose there? Why the legal teeth?
Yeah, it sounds strange at first, but Sebastian's defense of it is purely tactical. It guarantees that neither partner can weaponize the really sensitive stuff shared during counseling against the other, especially if the counseling leads to that stop conclusion we'll talk about. It protects the integrity of the disclosure itself.
So what kind of info are we talking about?
Well, the scope is massive. It covers private, personal, emotional, psychological, sexual details, family life, children existing or planned business, finances, spiritual beliefs, social life, everything.
Wow.
That huge scope basically forces comprehensive disclosure. You have to lay it all out.
So it's not just about keeping secrets out. It's about creating a genuinely safe space for the most uncomfortable truths in.
Okay.
And then this information is somehow ranked on these specific relationship indices.
Yeah, exactly.
What exactly are they measuring with authority and control and affection and inclusion on a 1 to 10 scale? Is this like relationship algebra or?
Yeah. Well, maybe a bit. But it's more like the foundational math of connection, really essential for the partnership's longevity.
Okay, break that down. Authority and control.
That measures how decisions get made, who holds the power, how you handle conflicts about dominance. Are you genuine partners, or is one person kind of dominating the dynamic?
Right, and affection and inclusion.
That deals more with the emotional needs, quality time, social life integration, emotional intimacy, feeling valued, feeling like you belong together. If you score, say, a 3 on affection, as Sebastian points out, it probably means one partner is consistently feeling starved for intimacy and belonging. Doesn't matter how successful your careers are.
So it forces the couple to look at these core areas and ask, right now, is this specific dynamic a blessing or a burden in our relationship. Not how they wish it was, but how it actually is.
Precisely. As it is.
This whole thing feels like a system designed specifically to find those deep foundational flaws.
It is designed for clarity, definitely. And based on this really thorough disclosure, PG Sebastian says he expects one of 4 very distinct, very high-stakes outcomes every single time a couple sits down.
4 outcomes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And these are pragmatic conclusions, he stresses.
Right.
Not just hopeful guesses.
Right.
The first one, maybe the most aspirational, is the sign-off.
Sign off. Sounds good.
Yeah, these are the couples who, based on all the evidence, they just got it all correct. Maybe it was luck, maybe really intentional mate selection, or maybe they're just incredibly well synced after a long, transparent relationship. They get the green light, move forward with confidence.
Okay, that's one. What's next?
Then you have what's probably the largest group, fix bugs.
Fix bugs, like software development.
Sort of. These are the regular everyday issues. Often things born out of socialization differences, like who pays for what, how involved should the families be, different communication styles, things that are generally solvable.
So they get homework.
Pretty much, yeah. They get specific tasks or areas to work on before they proceed with the wedding plans.
Okay, that makes sense, but the stakes climb with the last 2.
Dramatically.
Yeah.
These demand serious intervention. Let's talk about postponement or cardinal change.
Cardinal change, that sounds major.
It is. This outcome happens when critical, non-negotiable changes must be made, and the couple has to show they're willing and able to follow through.
Like what kind of issues?
Think really thorny stuff. The complexities around a baby mama relationship, maybe existing child custody agreements that haven't been fully integrated, or even external pressure forcing a rushed wedding before some major life project is done. It requires a deep, fundamental shift in behavior or circumstances, not just a minor tweak.
Okay, that's serious. And the last one, the most painful.
Yeah, the stop recommendation, advising separation.
Wow. When does that happen?
PG Sebastian says this becomes necessary when there are genuinely irreconcilable differences in major long-term goals, like one partner desperately wants children and the other fundamentally refuses. Or maybe critical family issues or even medical issues that haven't been properly disclosed or addressed.
That's tough.
It is. And this is where Sebastian delivers that real gut punchline. Love has a way of blurring your judgment, making you a victim of faith and hope instead of logic.
Ooh.
When a couple gets that stop recommendation, it's usually because they were consciously or unconsciously ignoring a really harsh reality that existed long before they even walked into the counseling room.
So let me ask you, the listener, directly here. Think about that scenario. Are you maybe running on sheer faith and hope when, deep down there's a documented harsh reality about irreconcilable life goals? Or have you actually engaged with the hard logic PG Sebastian describes?
Because ignoring it now, that's often what leads to being shipwrecked later, isn't it? After the big commitment is made.
Absolutely.
But okay, beyond just giving a thumbs up or thumbs down, this framework provides 3 major blocks of lasting benefits, even if you get the sign-off.
What are they?
First, you get crucial assessment and feedback. Through the questionnaires, the tests, the focus discussions, you get objective, non-emotional data. It tells you what your unique relationship dynamics actually mean in practical day-to-day terms.
So it arms you with facts, not just feelings, and you own the outcome based on that.
Exactly. You own the outcome, and the second benefit flows right from that assessment into practical mastery.
Which is?
It's about equipping skills. Sebastian outlines these basic, necessary skills every couple needs, regardless of how unique they feel. Things like conflict management.
Always needed.
Right. Handling different temperaments, how to effectively talk to a phlegmatic partner versus maybe a sanguine one, aligning those big long-term goals, managing inevitable differences in sexual drives, handling different perceptions of what love looks like in action.
Those are the non-negotiables, aren't they? The things that move you past just the fix bugs stage.
They really are. And the third block of benefits, that tackles the invisible enemies, exogenous factors.
External stuff.
Yeah, the external pressures that relentlessly attack even really great marriages. Things like managing finances together, the huge stress of childbearing and rearing, navigating tricky in-law relationships, the all-consuming nature of modern work.
Stuff that comes from outside the couple dynamic itself.
Exactly. But maybe the most enduring philosophical benefit Sebastian highlights is that counseling establishes an objective third leg.
A third leg?
Yeah, like a stable tripod. A trusted, singular voice the couple can fall back on later.
How so?
Someone objective who can maybe help referee a fight when they hit an impasse, or even just help them figure out how to apologize effectively. It provides this external point of reference that exists outside their own, often volatile, emotional ecosystem.
Now, wait a minute. Let's circle back to that third leg idea. Having an objective referee sounds great. But if this same counselor might advise separation for some couples, how can that same objective figure then turn around and ethically referee a disagreement for another couple? Doesn't that create a potential conflict of trust? Are they a judge or a coach?
That's a really sharp question. And it goes to the critical distinction P.G. Sebastian makes about the counselor's role. It isn't personal, it's fundamentally diagnostic.
Diagnostic, okay.
If the diagnosis, based on that high-integrity input from the NDA, the questionnaires, the indices, indicates, let's say, terminal problems,
Right.
then the recommendation is clinical. Stop. Preserve future well-being.
Right.
But if the diagnosis shows solvable issues, even serious ones, then the counselor transitions roles. They move from diagnosis to providing the toolkit, the skills, the frameworks needed for repair and maintenance.
So the trust isn't in the counselor liking you, it's in the transparency and rigor of the diagnostic process itself.
Precisely. The process dictates the role.
Okay, that clarifies it.
Okay.
So through this process, you get practical skills, you get deeper insight, you get help setting realistic expectations, and you potentially get a professional referee who operated under this clear diagnostic mandate. That sounds less like a sentimental prep step and more like a necessary investment.
It really is framed as an investment.
Yeah.
But, this is important, we have to confront the effectiveness gap. Why do some marriages still fail even after going through such a rigorous audit?
Yeah, that's the tough question.
Sebastian is realistic here. He concedes a counselor can't preempt everything, especially, basic human nature.
Right. He argues that human nature doesn't really lend itself easily to neat quantitative studies. But he does highlight 5 common reasons why even good counseling can fall short.
Okay, let's hear it.
I'll start with the human element on the counselor side, counselor quality. He says it goes way beyond just how many years the counselor has been married themselves. Poor training, a lack of contemporary understanding, maybe just bad personal judgment. Any of those can sabotage the whole outcome.
That makes sense. And critically linked to that is number 2, relatability and connection. The counselor has to be genuinely open-minded. They need to look past their own biases, maybe about money or education or even their own sexual impressions, to truly get the nuances of, say, the 21st century empowered woman or just the evolving expectations in modern partnerships.
If the couple doesn't feel fundamentally understood.
Exactly. They just won't absorb the advice no matter how good it is.
Okay, number 3 is actually incredibly tragic when you think about it. Distraction.
Distraction. How so?
Starting counseling when the wedding planning is already in full swing, Sebastian warns that the sheer emotional chaos dealing with vendor disappointments, the financial stress, the guest list drama.
Oh, yeah.
It means those deep, vital counseling conversations just pass through one ear and come out from the other. You end up giving inaccurate feedback because you're stressed and distracted, which leads to flawed premises for the whole discussion.
Wow. That feels like a tragic, totally self-imposed failure. Letting the noise of the event override the substance of the marriage preparation.
Exactly. Then there's number 4, the ideal nature of premarital counseling.
What does he mean by ideal nature?
He means that many couples, especially younger ones, lack real experiential knowledge. They maybe haven't lived together long-term or made major life decisions together under serious pressure.
Ah, so it's theoretical for them.
Right. They can only imagine what married life or living together will be like. So they answer the questionnaires based on ideals. But then when they finally move in or face a real crisis, Sebastian says they often face this insurmountable chasm between their theoretical answers and the sometimes ugly reality of shared domestic life or joint decision-making.
They answered based on hope, but they have to live based on ingrained habits and reactions. Ouch.
Yeah. And the final one, number 5, is the one no framework can ever truly defend against: human nature and deception. Meaning, a counselor simply cannot preempt individual choices made after the counseling. The choice someone might make to deliberately lie or distort facts during the process. Or completely unforeseen curveballs like a sudden job loss that triggers infidelity. Or just a fundamental change in circumstances or personality right after the wedding.
Stuff you just can't predict or control.
Exactly.
So P.G. Sebastian asks us, and maybe you listening, how honest were you really in that questionnaire, especially when you knew the stakes were high? Or was the sheer distraction of planning the party costing you the depth you needed to prepare for the real issues of a shared life?
That self-reflection seems key to understanding why sometimes even good prep doesn't guarantee success.
It really is.
So if even the most rigorous premarital counseling isn't a 100% guaranteed preventative measure, what does PG Sebastian recommend as the way forward? How do we improve longevity in modern marriage? He suggests 4 solutions, mainly focused on continuity and self-awareness.
Okay, let's lay them out. What's the first one?
First, he strongly suggests postmarital counseling.
After the wedding.
Yeah, about 12 to 18 months after. Think of it like a routine physician checkup, but for the relationship, even if there's no obvious problem.
Why then specifically?
Because by that point, that ideal nature chasm we talked about has likely closed. They have real lived experience together. Conversations can move from general theory to actual concrete issue-based counseling grounded in their reality.
Makes sense. Bridging the gap between theory and practice. What's number 2?
Second, and this feels really crucial for today's couples, is the reorientation of counselors.
Reorientation.
He argues that while the core pillars of marriage commitment, trust, respect remain constant, the social landscape has shifted dramatically. Counselors need to actively tweak their frameworks to fit modern realities without, abandoning core values.
Okay, can you give an example of that?
Yeah, he gives a powerful one about reconciling modern roles. Sebastian states, pretty directly, that if a man readily accepts and benefits from his partner's financial input, uses her education and career to boost the family's economic standing.
Which is common now.
Right. Then he absolutely must be prepared to accommodate her views and input in major decision-making as well.
Ah, the consistency point.
Exactly. It's not about changing deeply held beliefs necessarily, but about forcing internal consistency in how those beliefs are applied. If you benefit from her modernity in one area, like finances, you have to respect the source of that modernity, her agency, her perspective in other areas too.
You can't just brand her a rebel or difficult when she demands a voice in decisions, especially if you're happily depositing her paycheck.
Precisely. That inconsistency, that attempt to cherry-pick the benefits of modernity without accepting the required shift in partnership dynamics, PG Sebastian identifies that as a root cause of so many modern marital crises.
Wow. That failure to reconcile those dual roles.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels like the most acute challenge facing contemporary relationships right now.
Couldn't agree more. Okay, his third solution gets right back to individual responsibility.
Which is?
Simply put, the best premarital counseling is the personal self-awareness work you do before you even start dating seriously.
Figure yourself out first.
Yes. Figure out your life first. Your direction, your non-negotiables, your personal indices of what you need. When you reach that place of solid self-awareness, then you start looking for someone who genuinely fits the bigger picture you've already established for yourself.
Instead of trying to build your life around whoever you happen to fall for.
Exactly. And finally, number 4, he promotes peer-to-peer counseling.
Younger counselors for younger couples.
Essentially, yes. Training young, but very well-equipped, counselors who can genuinely connect with and absorb the contemporary experiences, the pressures, the communication styles of young couples today, in ways that perhaps older counselors, despite their wisdom, might sometimes miss due to generational shifts.
Interesting. A multi-pronged approach, then.
What a rigorous framework this is overall. PG Sebastian's system demands that total openness and honesty, backs it up with objective scoring, and crucially, isn't afraid to issue a stop conclusion if reality demands it. It really shifts the marriage conversation from just sentimental feelings to actionable facts, doesn't it?
It really does. And notice, he doesn't impose control. He provides the map. He provides the potential skill set, but the ownership of the choice.
Yeah.
That always remains with the couple.
Right.
The success hinges entirely on the integrity of their input, their honesty, and of course the quality of the guidance they receive during that deep dive.
So let's end by circling back to that challenge of modernity and consistency you highlighted. If a modern man accepts, even relies on, a woman's financial contributions because, hey, it benefits the family, why is it often still so hard for him to equally accept her social and decision-making inputs? That internal inconsistency, that desire to sort of cherry-pick the benefits without accepting the required evolution in partnership dynamics, that feels like the true ongoing challenge of the 21st century relationship.
That's really what needs solving first, isn't it? Within ourselves and between partners.
Absolutely. So go explore more of PG Sebastian's insights, his resources over on Steps to Forever, and maybe heed his most essential advice. Start your personal premarital counseling today. How? By truly figuring out your own life.